movement in New York, Vinny Alvarez of the Central Labor Council.
Well, thank you, Senator.
This affects all of us. On one, it affects all.
That's right. That's right. And thank you so much, Senator Schumer. Thank you to our entire congressional delegation and all the environmental advocates, our allies that we fight, that we are in the fight for a smart and an effective and rapid transition to a clean energy economy. We know how important that is. We've stood shoulder to shoulder with these advocates over the years. And at the core of what we do in the labor movement is not only fighting for free speech, particularly in the workplace, but also in society. And with so many allies and partners, we do that, but also the fight to maintain solidarity in the workplace, how important it is. You heard a lot of people talk about Pope Francis and his landmark encyclical on the environment, Laudato Si. And core to that, central to that, was the need to stand up and fight, of course, care for our common home, but also care for each other and stand in solidarity with each other. And we do that every day in the labor movement because we know that this is not just an attack on one group that are out there fighting for environmental justice, but who is it tomorrow? It could be the labor movement, it could be other folks. So we know that there are people out there doing great work and threatening a nonprofit's tax status just because you disagree with them, just because there's partisan political reason. It's un-American, it's dangerous, and we're not going to stand for it in the labor movement. And we're going to stand side by side, all of these advocates, as we stand up and we push back, not only here in the city, but throughout the country with so many of our partners in labor throughout the country, Senator, where so many of us recognize that attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. We know that. What they're proposing, it's not a form of governance, it's a form of retribution, it's a form of chaos, it's a recipe for disaster and for so many groups that have done so good for so many over the years where it's needed. So we will continue to make sure that we fight for that right. We're going to make sure that we know when there is an attack on these liberties and free speech, whether it be against these environmental justice organizations, whether it be against our friends and allies in the immigrants' rights advocacy that they're doing, wherever it is, we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder with them. We have over 1 million unionized workers here in the city, and we know that this attack that is taking place, that the Trump administration is planning on doing, could be attack on all of us. So, Senator, thank you for doing what you continue to do, and we will be with you and all of our allies in this fight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In unity, as Vinny said, in unity is our strength. An attack on one is an attack on all. Ben Jealous of the Sierra Club.
Thank you, Senator Schumer. Thank you to the entire New York delegation and my fellow sisters and brothers, part of civil society, the organizations that speak up for American people. On the way over here, I passed the first police precinct. I turned 18 in that precinct, fighting the Gulf War. Our banner was "No blood for oil." And for my entire adult life, it seems we have been fighting the fossil fuel industry's war against us. And think about where we are right now. First, President Trump came for the rangers, our park rangers across this country. Beautiful people serving our families. Then, President Trump came for our public lands. And now, President Trump is coming for the very environmental organizations that created that park system, that have built that park system, that preserve wild places for all of us and wild animals because it's the right thing to do. And we're not just in the middle of a climate crisis, we're in the middle of a mass extinction crisis being driven by habitat loss. But I gotta tell you, as a guy whose parents was against the law, his parents met as civil rights workers, both families, black and white, have been in this family for 400 years. On the black side, I'm cousins to George Washington. Think about that for a second. And Thomas Jefferson. And on the white side, we descend from 7 Revolutionary War soldiers in the Massachusetts Regiment of the Continental Army. And as I said to my son last night, we fought against monarchy, and we won. We fought against slavery, and we won. And we sure as hell will fight against oligarchy, and we will win. And God bless the New York delegation for doing what good New Yorkers should always do and standing up to these fools. God bless.
Thank you, Ben. great representative of Washington Heights, the Bronx, one of our leaders in Washington, Congressman Esbiat.
Thank you, Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand, my colleagues, Reverend Sharpton. We stand here on Earth Day. We could have been planting a tree, cleaning a park, fighting against environmental justice, making sure that the air quality is better for our kids, and yet we're here to denounce potential executive orders that choose and want to take us back. I believe the Trump dictatorship is doing this because they think we are afraid. They think that we are afraid.
We're not afraid.
And we're not afraid.
Yeah. Yes.
I represent a district that has Uptown with a Jewish community that came here right in the middle of the war and the Holocaust. They're not afraid.
Right.
I represent the Heights where I grew up with immigrants that came here perhaps from a country with a dictatorship itself, fighting poverty or an environmental disaster. They are not afraid.
That's right.
I represent Harlem, a community of black folks that fought water hoses and dogs during the civil rights movement. They are not afraid. I represent women who had to fight to get the right to vote and continue to fight to have the right over their own body. They are not afraid. We are not afraid of the Trump dictatorship, and we are certainly not afraid of a thug. In fact, in my neighborhoods, we knew what to do with a bully. We punched them first because we are not afraid. And so today, as we celebrate Earth Day, let's continue to fight for environmental justice, because far too many kids have asthma in my district because of poor air qualities. Let's continue to fight for environmental justice, because we have a permanent parking lot that pollutes our city and our neighborhood. Is called the Cross Bronx Expressway. Let's continue to fight for environmental injustice so that our seniors could breathe easier. Our communities are choking up. We're going to fight for environmental justice, but most importantly, we're not afraid. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Dios te bendiga. Next, we have Emily McDowell, Reproductive Freedom for All. We have a bunch of speakers. That's because we have such a broad spectrum, and we're all fighting for one another for justice.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Senator Schumer and the New York delegation. My name is Emily Steiner McDowell. I'm the Federal Associate Director of Policy at Reproductive Freedom for All. Reproductive Freedom for All is powered by our 4 million members across the country who are fighting for abortion access, birth control, and the full spectrum of reproductive health care. For 50 years, we've been demanding abortion access and abortion rights. And no matter how much Trump tries to silence us, we are not going to stop now. Because this isn't just about reproductive freedom. This is about the freedom to fight for our communities. And whether you're fighting for abortion or for clean air and clean water, no one should be punished for trying to make their communities safer and healthier. But that's exactly what Trump wants to do. He wants to punish anyone who disagrees with him. This is extremely un-American, and it goes against our country's core values. But remember, Trump is doing this because he's scared of us. He knows we are the majority, and together we have the power. 8 in 10 Americans support the right to abortion. And together we will keep fighting until everyone has the freedom to make the decisions about their bodies, their futures, and their lives. So let's raise our voices in unison and keep fighting for what we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. My congressman and a great relative newcomer to the Congress who's doing a great job there, Dan Goldman.
Thank you very much, Senator Schumer, and everybody for being here today. This mix of groups who fight for our constitutional rights, who fight for our individual freedoms, who fight for our fundamental liberties, are all here today on Earth Day to oppose Donald Trump's attack on our environment. Now, he certainly supports climate denialism. And we all know that the science is very clear. We know our planet is burning up. We know that the result is tremendous and hard, tremendously brutal weather events that are growing and increasing. He is cutting FEMA. He is cutting the EPA. He is now going after the tax-exempt status of environmental nonprofit organizations. And let's be very clear. If you take away the tax-exempt status from any nonprofit organization, you are killing that organization. They cannot function without their nonprofit status. So this is not some extra benefit. This is the basis on which they are built. Now, why is he doing this? Well, it doesn't make any economic sense. He just canceled an offshore wind program in South Brooklyn, in my district, that would have powered 500,000 New York City homes with clean energy. It would create billions of dollars of economic development, thousands of jobs. And that's all because of the Inflation Reduction Act and its $400 billion of private investment in our country, red and blue districts. It doesn't make economic sense, so why is he doing it? He is doing it because these folks behind us are a form of accountability. Donald Trump wants to destroy all accountability. He's gone after the media, called them enemy of the state. He's gone after the FBI, says they were corrupt. He's fired inspector generals. He's fired inspector generals and he's fired prosecutors. He has designated and dictated that the Department of Justice should go after people who speak against him. Now he's going after the organizations who uphold our laws. They're not breaking any laws. They're simply enforcing the laws that we have. But Donald Trump, for the same reason that he is taking away due process, he cannot win under the law. So he uses the authoritarian playbook to eliminate all forms of accountability so that law firms and universities and others cannot oppose him. That is un-American, that is anti-democratic, and that is unconstitutional, and he will lose. Thank you.
Dan.
Prosecute the criminal.
Okay, next we have Donna Lieberman, who does a great job as leader of the New York Civil Liberties Union.
Thank you, Senator. And I'm here today on behalf of the NYCLU and the ACLU with my colleague, Maribel Hernandez. And we're here to say, hands off free speech. Hands off immigrants. Hands off our colleges. Hands off our bodies, our kids, our schools, and hands off nonprofits. The ACLU and the NYCLU stand together with everyone who believes in freedom, equality, and democracy. We won't let them get away with a power grab to shut up their critics. We won't let them divide us. The ACLU is fighting in court, in the streets, in Congress, and every state legislature in the country. And we will never, ever, ever give up. And ultimately, we will win. We will build that arc of justice towards justice, away from oligarchy. Because we know that the people united will never be defeated. El pueblo unido jamás serán vencido. El pueblo unido jamás serán vencido. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you. Next, the great leader of the Hispanic community in New York, Frankie Miranda, head of the Hispanic Federation.
Thank you. Thank
We
you
are
so
a
much.
broad, wide, strong group.
Thank you so much, Senator. The President's potential executive order is an overreach of executive authority, weaponizing the federal government to target any nonprofit organization working on issues. The President disagrees and wants to silence them. A dangerous precedent that will cripple an important sector of our society, leaving long-term economic harms across our country. Everyone in the United States, hear me clear, Everyone in the United States at one point or another has benefited from a nonprofit. Whether you are a student who received a scholarship or a parent who sent their child to an after-school program, receive information about vaccinations, or register to vote, if you ever needed a helping hand or simply important information, life-saving information, a nonprofit was there to help. We help the most vulnerable regardless of where they come from. And this is something that we are going to stand strong. We're going to continue fighting. We're going to continue fighting with our leadership, with our great senator, and every single member of Congress that is standing for our nonprofits and the most vulnerable in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frankie. Next, one of the great leaders of the Working Families Party, Ana Maria Archila.
Buenos días, buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
Congressman Espaillat spoke about all the people that have no fear. And I just want to give some space to the fear. I am afraid for my people. I am afraid for our democracy. I am afraid for our city. And fear is an appropriate response to an attack as aggressive as the one we are facing. Trump is trying to dismantle everything that generations before us have built so that we can live with dignity. He's firing thousands of federal workers. He's trying to take away the nonprofit status for organizations today, starting with climate justice organizations, but tomorrow it will be faith organizations, and the next day it will be immigrant organizations, and the next day it will be all of us. Because he's trying to help us, he's trying to make us believe that we are alone. He's trying to make us believe that we cannot do anything to protect one another. And today I am saying, despite our fear, despite what is an appropriate response to a scary situation, we are here to say we are not alone. We have each other's backs. We will fight for one another. We will not stop, and we will not leave anyone behind. Woo. Nonprofit organizations do the work of feeding people, educating people, caring for people. And yes, we do the work of demanding more of our government so that we can move in the direction of a more just society. And we will not give up the promise of this country to be a place where all of us can be free. So Trump can say, Trump can try to cut one rose today, 2 roses, 3 roses, 3 organizations, 5 organizations, but he cannot stop the spring from coming. He will not stop the spring from coming.
Right, you are.
The vision of this country is one that lives inside all of us. And we will do everything necessary to take care of that vision and protect all of us today so that we can have a country that we can give to the people that come after us.
Thank you, Ana Maria. Okay, next. Well, I'm losing my, let's see here. We have someone representing our hospitals and the people who teach at our hospitals, Brian Conway from Greater New York Hospital Association and a UUP rep. Brian. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator Schumer and all the leaders for being here. I'm here today because Medicaid is in the crosshairs.
Yes.
This essential health program faces hundreds of billions in proposed federal cuts. The worst Medicaid cuts we have ever faced. These cuts would end Medicaid as we know it. This cannot happen. In New York, Medicaid cuts of this magnitude would severely harm the 7 million New Yorkers with Medicaid and cripple the hospitals and health systems that care for them. This cannot happen. New York's hospitals are already struggling. Decades of government underpayments have placed most of them in a precarious financial state. Make no mistake, the massive federal cuts that are on the table would force them to cut staff and reduce services. Some safety net hospitals would close their doors for good. This cannot happen. This grim scenario is entirely avoidable. It's up to Congress and President Trump to do the right thing. Let's raise our voices and send a clear message to Washington, D.C. Hands off Medicaid. Hands off Medicaid. Congress, New York's entire hospital community is counting on you. Your constituents are counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So, now, as you can see, we have a huge number of groups here, but I want to acknowledge them. We couldn't let everybody speak. In the Yeah. In the environmental movement, the League of Conservation Voters, the New York League of Conservation Voters, NRDC, Earth Justice, Sierra Club, EDF, New York Renews, Environmental Advocates, New York Lawyers, New York Union of Concerned Scientists, We Act, and many more. Labor, the Central Labor Council, the UFT, representing 200,000 teachers, and many more. Civil Rights, National Action Network, NAACP, New York State Urban League, clergy leaders from across New York. Thank you, clergy, for coming. I see many of you here. Civil Liberties, the ACLU, the NYCLU. Community organizations representing tens of thousands of working class and immigrant workers. Hispanic Federation, Vocal New York, Community Voices Heard. New York Communities for Change, Make the Road New York, Working Families, OCA, Wen Chao, and Coalition of Asian Pacific. Choice, Reproductive Freedom for All, Social Services, United Neighborhood Housing, Healthcare, Metro Healthcare, Public Health Solutions, LGBTQ+, Housing Works and SAGE, hospitals we mentioned, and professors and academics and university workers. Thank you, everybody. Okay. Thank you.
Congressman, Senator, can you talk about the tangible steps you'll take to avoid or to avert the revocation of nonprofit status and designation of these groups as terrorists? And maybe Senator Schumer can also weigh in.
Yeah, I'll say three things quickly. One, first, there's strength and solidarity and unity. That's what we're doing today. Second, we have the courts right there. We're going to win. But third, public sentiment is everything. We are creating a mass movement, and there'll be more people participating than you've ever seen united in beating back Trump. When public sentiment wins, we win. Thank you. Thank you.
I'll say exactly the same thing Chuck said. We have to demonstrate, and we are seeing all these demonstrations around the country, and they're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Secondly, we're going to challenge in court, and I think we're going to win in the courts because there's no statutory basis for what they're doing. Those are the two main ones. And third, electoral action, obviously. We're looking toward the elections next year. And I believe because of not so much the civil liberties issues, but because of the very high inflation that Trump is causing, Democrats are going to win the elections next year, and that will cut the terror in half.
Thank you, folks. Oh, you want a picture? Okay. Turn around with the song. Put behind the podium, everyone. We'll go back to the